It's not that salty.
No.
Oh, hey. Hi. So, hello. Welcome to the Dead by Daylight dev stream. We don't have Matt today, but the design team... Well, we have another Matt. It's really confusing.
I'm here. What are you talking about?
Hi. We don't have Cote today, but we're going to try to make this work properly. I have almost all the design team with me today. And we have something new with the format. We've done a little bit of work to make this better for you guys. So hopefully you'll like it. So we don't even need to present ourselves anymore. You can see it on the screen. Isn't that genius?
You know it.
All right. So let's start right now because we have a lot of stuff today. Let's start by saying hi to our mods today. We have BroBQ, we have Clyde, we have Murph, Sassy, and Suggestive. So hello all of you. And of course, we have Bjorn back there.
What's up, Bjorn?
Hello.
Hey.
That's gonna make everything run smoothly, hopefully. All right, so let's start with the news, like always. We don't have a lot this week. So actually, I got news from Mathieu this morning. He is safe, and he arrived in Taipei. They are there. He is there with Paul and Alex for the Taipei Game Show. We actually have an image of the booth there. They are with Twitch, and they have 10 computers with the game running. So there's a lot of people that's going to come there. So if you want to see, yeah, there we go. Looking pretty cool. This is Paul, by the way.
Paul's awesome.
Yeah, Paul is awesome. We love Paul. All right, so that's it. That's all the news we got. Or maybe a little patch note.
Give him a little more.
Yeah, a little more.
A
Okay,
little more.
so people were freaking out a little bit earlier because there's no patch note for the little tiny patch we did earlier today. So I'm going to tell you what it is. We've added, well, not we, but the engineers added some hooks in the code to analyze some of the big issues that we have so that we have more information when they happen so that we can fix them better and faster. Yes. Okay, part 2, on its way. What's going on? What are you doing?
Just taking notes.
Okay.
Taking notes.
Good. So first of all, you're expecting a big patch. This is not going to come today or this week. Like some of you know, we are going through a update of the Unreal Engine so that we can make our game much better. Engine 4.13 have caused some major issues with our build. It's actually not it's not good enough. It's not in a shippable state. So we had some surprises, and we want to take the time to make it right before shipping it to you, obviously. So this is going to take a little bit more time. We want to make this right. But with 4.13, it's going to be a big patch. There's a lot of bug fixes that we cannot patch without 4.13. So we're so deep into that new engine that it's impossible to ship anything without first fixing this.
Yeah, but it should bring us a lot of good
Absolutely.
by doing this. So
Yeah.
it's exciting.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff. While most of our engineers are working on that, on the design side and on our side, we're creating new content so that we're getting ready for post 4.13 patch. So be sure that new maps, killers, survivors, new perks, new everything is going to come. And like we've always said, some of this content will be free, some of this content will be paid. So all in time, we'll be able to talk about it more when we get there. You
Can't wait to talk about these
right?
maps.
I know.
Really excited.
We can't talk about the new maps. We can't
Not
talk
yet.
about it. But there are many new maps, exciting new maps coming.
Yeah.
Other things that is on its way: matchmaking, save, backend. Oh, there it is.
Wonderful.
It's fine, Bjorn. Let it go. Okay. Look, it comes back. It's haunted. So just to know, so you know what's going on, the screen that we're looking at in front of us is possessed by a spirit,
Acting up.
an
Yeah.
evil spirit.
Yeah.
So matchmaking, save, and backend. So our engineers are working on having a backend. We have it. It's ready.
Oh, that's not you.
It's not me. I'm sorry.
No?
I'll try.
Maybe a little bit. A backend allows us
I
to
like that.
decouple from Steam features and have a more secure environment, being able to have the save game stored there with the thing that we need, not necessarily what the Steam platform gives us as tools. We'll have more control over bans, for example, or profile of some people. If we want to give things away, it would be through the back end, so a much more secure. Oh, and also matchmaking. Yeah, so matchmaking would go through the back end.
That's the big one.
It's the big one. So the matchmaking, when this comes in and when all the work has been done on the back end, is going to be much smoother. We will be able to make sure that you're with people of your skill level most of the time, but also of a closer region, so that the ping is better than in some match you might have had.
Yeah. Really got to work on that back end.
That's so important. We bought whips, and that's all our days now. We're going around and we're whipping the engineer so that the back end is worked.
That's really what goes on in our studio.
Yeah. Okay. Next, I get this was beautiful. Next on the list is we're preparing something for the Lunar Year celebration. So
Lunar Year celebration.
Yeah, if you don't know what that is, Google it. We're preparing a little something, so that's on its way.
Do we know when that is? Can we tell them a date?
Yeah, it starts on the 28th of January.
Okay.
The celebrations. And we're also working actively on the hook gameplay. So to not say camping the hook. That's one thing that on the design side and prototyping side we're working a lot at the moment. Our goal is to make this portion of the game fun for everyone.
So right now we're lacking in counterplay towards the camping strategy that some killers employ. It is a legit strategy in certain situations.
Yeah.
Very, very legit.
If it's part of the game, then it should be considered legit.
Yeah. So I think we just need to find ways that the survivors will be able to detour the killer and still manage to survive.
Yeah.
And have that amount of hope that is legit.
Yeah. So hockey analogy, it should be like goaltending, protecting the hook.
Yeah. Killer being the goalie.
Yes.
Yeah. In case anybody didn't get that.
You don't know what hockey is.
We are Canadian. We might be too hockey oriented.
You're right. Good stuff. Okay, so we went through that quite fast because we actually these guys have prepared a lot of content for today to talk about.
Yeah, totally.
So we did.
But and we have to thank Sarah as well. She prepared all sort of images for us so that it is interesting to look at and that everybody can follow. Yes. Yeah. So let's start with the perks.
Very cool. Bjorn, would you mind bringing up our top 10 Survivor perks?
Top 10. Number 10.
All right. So, number 10. I don't know if this is as blurry on your side, but it is unrelenting. Number 1, sorry. Unrelenting at 13.75% usage rate amongst all of our player base as killers. Just to give you some quick knowledge on these things. This is actually the top 10 killer perks, sorry, not survivors. For Unrelenting, we're doing changes to it to make it so it only affects cooldown on missed attacks, in case you hadn't caught that before. It will be 20, 25%, and 30% of cooldown on missed attacks right now.
Wait a bit. I want to see your face when you're explaining that. So let's go through these quickly, and then we can...
You want to go through them quickly?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
All right, let's go through them quickly. Bjorn, if you wouldn't mind, thank you. Unrelenting is top. 13.75%. Whispers following up with 8.14%. Brutal Strength is at 8.09 in third place. Iron Grasp at 8.08, very close. After that, you get No One Escapes Death at 6.8. Save the Best for Last at 6.16. Deerstalker at 5.84. Agitation at 5.41. Nurse's Calling at 4.54. And finally, Spies from the Shadows at 2.95. Solo. Just a quick note on Spies for the Shadows. It is not working at the moment. I would suggest using another perk. This will be fixed. It isn't fixed internally right now, and it will be pushed live when we have the opportunity to do so. But as we said earlier, it depends on our engine being more stable.
So don't use that one right now.
Right, that one, yeah.
2.95% of people.
That way.
Don't use it. Not now.
Now you know.
Yeah.
All right, so
these stats is for the last 2 weeks, right?
last 7 days actually.
7 days.
That's it?
Yeah.
But it doesn't move that much. It moves when we change them.
Yeah.
But yeah.
There was a shift though since the last week. Maybe nice to show the shifts as the weeks go on as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can always look into that as well.
All right. So let's go through them and any changes that we have planned so that everybody knows what's going on.
So for killer perks, we are changing some stuff up. As I was mentioning earlier, Unrelenting is part of the machine gun build. Unrelenting is being changed, as was saved the best for last. The Unrelenting change is making it so it's based only off of missed attacks. This is to help newer players learn how to deal with missing their attacks and trying to hit survivors. In general, the better you are as a killer, the less you'd use this perk, I would think, as it's more of a helping aid than something to secure the kills as much. If you're good, you'll be hitting your target. That's basically what I'm trying to say. Whispers. We're exploring the idea that using a locker is going to hide you from whispers. So if you get into a locker and the killer's coming with whispers, the whispers will not activate as long as you are inside the locker. This is adding a gameplay base counter, which Spies from the Shadows already has as well, in which you are crouching, you will avoid startling the crows.
And including having a perk specifically designed to counter it.
Exactly, yeah. Brutal Strength, we currently have no changes planned for Brutal Strength. We like where it currently is. We are looking at pallets, but this is something more for Matt to talk about in a bit.
Pallets.
Yeah, we do have that in our questions at some point.
Yeah. Iron Grasp is being changed. We'd mentioned this before. It's going to be reducing the values to their previous values. This is supposed to come in with the hook, auto repair, and the generator damage, which we've spoken about really quickly, which we should be PTBing at some point, again, when the engine is more stable, so we can actually test it properly.
Yeah, so again, as soon as 4.13 patch is out, we'll be able to organize a public test build.
We're very excited about this.
Yeah, it's something we want to do as fast as we can.
The prior values were 25% struggle reduction, 50% and 75%. And the time to struggle out of the grasp is increased by 4, 8, and 12%. This is different than the much higher values that you currently see. Currently, to struggle out of the grasp, it is 36% at its max level. The 12% is a giant reduction.
Yeah.
But
sorry. Historically, we did that because of the sabotage problem.
Absolutely.
So now
initially,
that it's going away.
Yeah.
This needs to change.
Absolutely. Yeah. So no one escapes death. We're going to make this into a hex perk, which will be quite interesting. It's adding a little bit more counterplay to the perk instead of just waiting out the 2 minutes. When the exit gates are powered, if there is a dull totem remaining on the map, no one escapes death will be applied to that dull totem. It will then become a hex totem. If you find it and destroy it, the NOED will be cancelled. And you can choose to escape at that point. So you can choose to either try to find the totem or try to take your chances and run past the killer if he is at the exit gates.
Kind of cool.
Yeah, I quite enjoy that one.
Yeah.
I don't believe any of the numbers are changing on that. Save the best for last. You're going to be obsessed with one survivor as long as your obsession is alive after being in a chase for 20 seconds. The cooldown of your next successful attack is going to be decreased by 30, 35, or 40%. Your successful attack cooldown will remain active for 5 seconds after the chase, and reinitializing the chase before the 5 seconds will reset the successful attack cooldown timer. So it should be quite interesting, and this is more for our high-level players who find themselves in longer chases and want to be able to get those 2 hits in to ensure a down. Should be quite interesting, actually. This will not work against the obsession, if I didn't say that. That is a part of that. Deerstalker has no planned changes. Agitation also has no planned changes. Nurse Calling has been changed to be affected by Soul Survivor. So Soul Survivor will reduce the Nurse's Calling effects. And finally, Spies from the Shadows will be fixed eventually.
Yeah.
Bjorn, would you like to show the top 10 Survivor perks?
Number 10.
There we go. We're going to start with 1 this time, even though I had screwed that up. Sprint Burst is the top used perk right now at 11.37%.
What's the percentages exactly?
The percentages are based off of the total amount of population. This is about 80,000 hits being used for this. I think at 2%, it was down to 20,000, but I might be wrong off that. Double check on the numbers.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I think so. I will hopefully have those for you next time as well. Spine Chill is in the second place with 9.12%, Saboteur at 8.54%, Self-Care at 8.51%, Premonition 8.1%, Adrenaline at 5.7%, this is the 6th perk, Botany Knowledge is their 7th at 4.12%, throwing out a bunch of numbers. Decisive Strike is at 4.06 in the 8th position. Interesting. Kindred sits at 9 with 2.85 usage rate, and Dark Sense is at 82, which is also really cool. We're seeing changes in our variations of killer perks. I quite like it. And survivor perks, sorry.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to go find my page. Oh, sorry about that. Sprint Burst was currently buffed. Not buffed, changed, modified.
No.
Sorry.
No, that's not the word you're looking for.
I did not look for buff. It was changed so that the cooldown is quicker when you're standing still versus when you move. We won't be changing it any further at the moment, but we're looking into seeing what we can do if we need to.
Yeah. One thing to know there is that design team is actively looking into a way to make perk progression and how you can equip perk more interesting, so that we allow more or different builds, should I say.
Yeah. Which should be really fun.
Yeah,
I really like that kind of
gameplay. I'm excited about this one, but
Yeah.
more on that later.
Yes.
Yeah.
Spine Chill will no longer detect the Wraith when invisible. Saboteur will be getting a change where Saboteur and Self-Care will both be getting changes that are quite similar. Saboteur itself will be, the survivor starts with a number of sabotage charges. They'll have a certain amount of ammo. You can choose to use the sabotage charges or a toolbox when you have this active, to choose one or the other. You'll have a 100% chance to find toolboxes from chests, and an increased efficiency of toolbox sabotage by 50, 75%, and 100%. And the final bonus on that one is you display hooks between a 4 meter, 6 meter, and 8 meter radius. These things may change. These are things that we're testing internally. So let us know your thoughts. I'll be happy to hear them. Self-Care will also start with a number of charges. You can choose to heal yourself or use a med kit if you so do choose. You have a 100% chance to find the med kits in chests. Your increased efficiency of healing items for self-heal are increased to 50, 75, and 100%. And your increased healing speed for yourself is 15, 20, and 25%. Those remain the same. Again, these are subject to change if ever we notice that they're too strong or too weak.
So the big thing that obviously these one are going to change a lot, but the big thing, important thing for me here is that these perks become, they have a limit. So you have to think before you're actually going to heal someone or you heal yourself, or which tool you're going to use, or your ammo from the perk. So it's going to create more of interesting scenarios.
Absolutely. By the way, I just saw someone mention, where is Iron Will? That was my question too. Where is it? I love that perk. Blowing my mind. Premonition. There's no change planned for this perk right now. Adrenaline is the same, and same with Botany Knowledge. We like where those currently are. Decisive Strike change. We had mentioned a Decisive Strike change before, I believe, mentioning an item that you need to use to perform the action. We've changed our minds on this, and we have another proposed change. If you are the obsession, using whatever's at hand, you'll stab at your aggressor in an attempt to escape. Once per match, when you're grabbed by the killer, you're going to succeed a skill check to automatically escape the killer's grasp and have a stun time of 3, 4, and 5 seconds, which is the previous times. But this is only if you're the obsession. If you're not the obsession, while in the killer's grasp, once the wiggle meter has reached 45, 40, or 35%, you're going to succeed a skill check to automatically fill the rest of the wiggle bar and escape from the killer's grasp, which will give you the wiggle, grasp, stun time, escape. Now this is going to go on a little tangent. The wiggle, grasp, stun time was, people had asked about it last week, and they're like, is it longer than what we expected? Because we had mentioned that it was supposed to be like 3 seconds. It was a total of 5 seconds. We checked. It's true. It is 5 seconds. The initial time for when the killer is letting go of the person is 1 second. That won't change. But after that time, we'll have a stun time of 3 seconds instead of the 4 seconds, which you were currently stunned as. So you'll save a bit of time, and Decisive Strike shouldn't be as debilitating as it currently was before, or currently is, rather. Kindred will now have the ability to see a trap in a 4 meter range around the hook, and it will be revealed to all survivors. Dark Sense has no planned changes at the moment. And that is all for the perk changes that I have. Oh, well, I also like to speak about Soul Survivor, if this would be a good time, or do you want to do that later?
Yeah, we can wait for the actual Q&A.
We can wait. We'll wait.
Yeah.
We'll wait.
Those are a lot of changes, though.
They are like there's
big.
even more.
Yeah.
Big.
There's even more. This is just half of the barrel.
Tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, tip of the iceberg.
Yeah. So like we've said before, this patch is going to be quite big. Not all the changes are going to be in for that specific patch, but some of them will. All right. That's it, right?
Yeah, I see worries that people think that the survivors are getting hit pretty hard. But
Oh well, just before the killers were saying that they were
Yeah.
hit pretty hard.
Yeah.
But no, I think this is the right thing to do.
I quite feel like this is fair. We'll have to try it out and see.
All right. So of course everybody's gonna need to adapt to these changes. Hopefully it's gonna go smoothly for you, with not too much dying.
A healthy amount of dying.
A healthy amount of dying.
Yeah.
Just enough.
We encourage a healthy amount of dying, I think.
50%.
Yeah. It's right down the line.
Okay. Well, that's it. That's it for perks. Hope
Mhm.
you enjoyed that.
Yeah.
We should do that more often in that format. I think it's perfect. It's a lot of information.
Yeah, I like the top 10. It's
Right.
kind of cool knowing
Yeah, it's fun
who's
to know.
using
Yeah,
what's being used the most, stuff
Yeah.
like that.
I agree as well. We could always do bottom 10 if we want as well.
Yeah.
And we can show how we're going to be increasing them to make
Yeah.
them as viable as the top 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, we can also
It's good.
approach this differently sometimes because obviously now this top 10 is last 7 days for the whole community.
Yeah.
So the whole players that played during that time. But it changes a bit when we get to I rank, obviously, or obviously there's some perks that come from a DLC that not necessarily everybody has, so it might be used more in the population that owns the DLC, for example, things like that.
Yeah.
Mm.
We like stats, though. So it's
We-
kind of
we
cool
do
to know.
like
Yeah.
stats.
I also
Alright.
like stats.
Yeah.
So the next block is, I'm just looking if there's any question at the moment, especially for perks. No, okay. The other block is about infinites. So,
We're not doing like around the web or.
we
we
can
can
do a
go-
little break.
Well, you're right. I've been sitting here patiently
yeah,
and
but
I don't have much to say. But
Wait a little bit more.
No,
we can do a little
it's
break.
okay. Let's do it.
We're
Let's do
we wanna it?
infinites.
Okay,
Yeah, we'll do infinites right
Okay.
away.
So it's all the heavy stuff right away.
Yeah, we'll get it all out of the way. See if there are any questions that come in for the Q&A at the end, stuff like that. So, I haven't been on the Twitch in a while, so I wanted to bring up, I guess, the biggest subject in terms of level design. There are a lot of subjects that we'll eventually cover, not all in the same stream. So today I wanted to bring the subject of infinites to the forefront and kind of go through where we were at the beginning when infinites came about and what we've done since then and what we hope to be doing in the future with the infinites. So just a little recap. First of all, we've been hard at work on the infinite problem since the beginning. I know there's been a lot of feedback kind of asking, hey, how come we haven't done anything about infinites and so on. The idea is that globally what we're trying to do is preserve a diversity in our gameplay. So, for example, all the suggestions about, we could change this window for a door and put a pallet there or something. Those are all changes which could have been really simple to do, but one of the other subjects we're dealing with these days is pallets, sort of pallet distribution, pallet counts on maps and stuff like that. We see pallets a lot. So we wanted to avoid kind of taking one gameplay element and turning it into a different gameplay element. We wanted to keep the separate elements and then make them work in a more kind of higher level system so that the game not only preserves diversity of gameplay, but also deepens the gameplay. So that's why the changes we've taken to fixing the infinites have been a kind of step-by-step process. We've learned a lot about the game, mainly thanks to players like you, who have actually been giving us tons of feedback.
Thank you.
Some more constructive than others, though we have been paying attention. So let's go to the first slide. The first slide essentially is whoa, that's really bad resolution, But anyways, this is the first slide showing the wretched shop garage in its old form. So the first generation infinites were marked by the presence of multiple vault windows in close proximity to each other.
Yeah.
This was the first major issue that we were seeing that was really abusable. So, next slide, please. The first step was to randomly remove the problem windows, which were too close to each other.
Mm-hmm. Randomly disable some of the windows on the side.
Yeah, randomly block some of the problematic windows which are too close to each other. And this did eliminate this type of infinite, in that sense that they were really easy in the beginning because you just had to go from one window right next door there was another window. So this change forced players to change the strategy around those type of setups. In the end, you can go to the next slide now. In the end, we noticed that there was an evolution in the window infinites. So instead of multiple window setups being a problem and causing infinites began being reported as same window infinites. That is to say, you didn't need more than one window, you just needed one window, but a window you could loop around to the other side and continue in an infinite loop. So, we can go to the next slide, please. I think those are the old setup, but that's all right. Essentially, after analyzing the first fix, we started seeing, well, it was pretty clear that there were two types of same window infinite loops that were emerging in the behavior of the players. We're using short chase loops and medium chase loops. The short chase loops are essentially the spots where killers have a chance to juke or fake out the survivor and land a hit. While as the medium chase loops were loops where there was no juking or no faking out possible from the killer's point of view, and the only choice was to actually follow through the window and chase the survivor. So, actually to figure out the situation, we had to do a little math, which is on the next slide. Sorry. Okay, so these are not the right slides. Let's go forward again. Again. Okay, I don't know, maybe didn't get the right slides in the folder.
The Blackboard one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we figured out that short chase loops around window vaults worked because there was a mind game there. The killer could fake out or juke out the survivors to be able to land a hit, but that medium chase loop windows were not viable gameplay elements because survivors would just have to loop around and they could do it forever, and the killer would not be able to catch up. So after we did the math, we found out that the short chase loops were essentially any window loop underneath 15 meters in length. So we analyzed the maps, identified which loops could be made to fit in that category, and any loops that couldn't fit into the short chase category of under 15 meters, we added objects, blockers, or as we've talked about, debris, to increase those medium chase loops so that they would have a total distance of over 30 meters. Now, after doing the math, we noticed that any loop over 30 meters, the killer could actually gain the distance they've lost by following the survivor through the window, because survivors jump through a window faster than killers. So, with that in mind, the goal was to make all medium loops into long loops. You can put the actual previous slide back. Yeah, not that one, but the next one. So, sorry, maybe the one that was before that, I guess. So this was a short, this was a medium loop that we modified, and I think go back one, we should have the right one. No, okay, well the order is all screwed up, but
We're gonna find it.
next one. Okay, next one. Next one. Okay, so this is after making the medium loop into a long loop. So as you can see, we added objects and changed the layout so that survivors had a much a longer path to reach the other side of the vault window. So after implementing this, we saw that it wasn't quite working. So we had to go back to the math. There was some things that we hadn't taken into consideration. This is where we introduced the vacuum vault fix, as you may remember. But aside from the vacuum vault fix, we implemented something else. Let's take it to the next slide. Maybe it's the right one. Yes, this is us doing the math. Let's see the next slide. Okay, this is the right one. So, if you can look at this image and consider both arrows. So one of them coming into the building and one of them going out of the building, you'll notice that they're not quite the same. So after attacking vacuum vaults, pushing all of the loop spots into long or short spots, we also implemented a angle of approach vault speed modifier for the survivors. Now what this meant was that we were able to create setups around the windows where survivors coming one way through the window would be able to perform a fast vault, but if they were to try a fast vault coming from the opposite way through the window, then they would be forced into a medium vault because of the angle of approach that they were using.
This effectively means that you're gaining more distance if you're doing the fast vault, and you're losing a little bit of distance when you do the medium vault.
Right.
Which means the killer can catch up to you quicker.
So the fast vault obviously is fast, and the medium vault is, well, medium speed. So that means that whenever the killer is looping around one of these long chase loops in a certain direction, let's say clockwise, for example, then maybe they will be enabling the survivor to use the fast vault. However, if they switch direction and go counterclockwise, then they may be forcing the survivor into a medium speed vault, which means that they'll be gaining more gap distance on the survivor every time that they loop around. This was our how to integrate infinites into the game system themselves and enable them as a strategy or enable them as a kind of valid gameplay mechanic that wouldn't break the game and, well, basically cause infinites. Now with that, we have really high hopes, but we did need to do two other modifications to the game in order to allow these systems to actually work and add something to the game. So those two last modifications that we did, first of all, was to increase the killer's vault speed, the baseline vault speed, so that the survivors would be gaining less ground as they go through windows, but also to add the very aggressive version of the entity blocker, the entity window blocker.
Yeah.
So, with those changes done, reports are that infinites have been eradicated. They may be premature reports, but apparently infinites have been eradicated. Now, I'm not 100% sure about that. We'll have to keep an eye on it, but I think they've been reduced to a different category.
Absolutely.
So now the subject isn't so much about infinites, it's about time sinks. So what were previously infinites, I believe, are simply referred to now as time sink. So you might chase someone for a really long amount of time, but you'll catch them eventually. You'll get a hit eventually. So our goal from here on out actually is to better manage how these time sinks are present in maps and how to ensure that they're properly distributed, considering pallet loops, etc., so that the survivors should not be able to waste too much of a killer's time, for there to be a viable strategy on the killer's behalf. So we'll see how that works.
I'm excited for that. I'm actually really excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's my spiel. That's about infinites. The war rage is on, but we're really close, I think, to winning this battle.
Remember the day of the window cheese, and yeah, I mean
It's coming
somewhere
along.
else. Yeah, for sure.
Mm.
Yeah. So high hopes. High hopes.
Thank you. That was great. So
Seriously.
Next time we'll go over palette looping.
Yeah. Next big subject: palette looping, palette distributions in the maps.
Mm. Safe palettes, unsafe palettes.
Safe palettes, unsafe palettes, half safe palettes.
So I have noted some questions from the chat while you were talking. Jenny Fears is asking, will survivors be able to use medkit for self-healing even if they don't have self-care? And the answer is yes.
Yeah, items will always be able to heal you yourself.
Yeah.
The medkits
No
rather.
worries. And you'll be able to sabotage with a toolkit normally.
Absolutely.
Even though you don't have this.
Yeah,
this sabotage.
and if you lose your
So-
charges, I believe
We're going to keep active the 100% find rate for toolboxes or med kits, depending on what it is.
Exactly. So
Mm.
if you choose these perks, you really can go into this role that you want to do, but we'll limit how you can actually, let's say, abuse it at that point.
Hmm.
Xzebra was asking if there's somewhere, Xzebra, if there's somewhere a blog or something where you guys can read all the modifications that we're planning. We don't have anything of sort just yet. I was hoping to add some sort of dev log on our website. We just don't have the time to do this at the moment, but it's something that I'd like to make available. In the meantime, every time we patch or we plan a PTB, we usually put it on Reddit and on Steam in the forums. So if you follow these in these places, you should know. Someone else was asking for, suggesting, I don't have the name, suggesting that next week for the perks, we do a top 10 for rank 1 to 10 and then 11 to 20, so that we see difference
Absolutely.
between high rank
That'd be
and
really cool.
lower rank, which would be fun. All right. Also, someone is asking if this is vodka.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
It
We
is.
only drink vodka.
Yeah.
You thought this was water? Oh, crazy.
What?
Yeah, it's not coffee either. It's a joke, of course. Okay, so let's move on. Let's go to something lighter. Let's go into from the web.
Ooh.
Oh, now you see, this is usually Matt doing
Aw.
it, and he's all prepared, and I am not. What's going on, Bjorn?
It doesn't like me.
It doesn't like you? Computer doesn't like you. Well, anyway, I'm not ready
Flash dance.
because I have to go find the names of these artists, and so talk about things, guys, while I do this.
Talking about things.
Yeah, talk about things.
Things. If you're
Wait,
getting
that was all from the web?
No. He has
No.
to get some information.
Sorry,
I
I
have
was
to get the names of
phased out
people,
there.
and
It's alright.
I
Oh,
don't.
okay, yeah.
I don't.
I have some.
Gotta
stuff
give
on the-
credit where it's due.
Yeah.
Looking at the infinite loading screens, if you guys are experiencing this issue at the moment, from what I've understood, you can go through Survive with Friends and try to join a lobby even if you're solo. And it seems like you will not be getting this issue as often as the people who are just doing Survivor and then doing play, or join lobby rather. So if you'd like to try to avoid the issue or see if you can avoid the issue, try that, Survive with Friends, and then just join lobby even if you're alone. And if it doesn't work, please let me know, just like through Reddit or Steam or whatever, and I will try to find another solution for you guys until we actually have a correct fix in the build.
Good stuff. I am ready. Let's
Go
do
on.
this. So this is from Califear. Don't worry, it's gonna be all white.
What's
That's so
what's
cool.
the matter with his eyes?
I don't know. I think it's just style.
It feels
I
like
like it.
It feels like a good poster.
Yeah,
Or even shirt for that matter.
Yeah.
it's actually made on paper, something rare. Okay, next. So this one is found on DeviantArt. There's actually quite a few from this artist called Propimal.
Is that the nurse?
Oh, it's like new concepts
very
for
Oh.
different characters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are their names? I can't.
I can't even read at the moment.
No.
The resolution of what we're
The
is not good enough.
fur and the kid. I think the middle one is the kid.
Yes.
And the other one is
The funeral and the housemaid.
The funeral?
the
That's the first
housemaid.
one. That's
And
what
the
I read, but I
housemaid
didn't
one,
read it.
right.
Yeah,
Nice.
I like that.
Yeah.
very cool.
Next.
There's a level design question for you right there.
Where?
These are from. There's going to be two. You can read them, obviously. You can also find this artist on Tumblr, Ecstatic Casual. There's a lot of great content on that Tumblr about Dead by Daylight. These little cartoons are amazing. The hag is kind of a bitch.
Is the nurse chewing out the hag? Is that what's happening right there?
The what?
The nurse is chewing out the hag.
Yeah.
It's like, did you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Next one.
Somebody likes your coffee cup, by the way.
Yeah, always. And by the way, this cup cannot be bought in any way. It's limited edition. They're not doing any
Ouch.
anymore. So that's probably the only one. All the others have been broken.
Or stolen, I guess. I guess that's what
Mm-hmm.
it's limited edition.
Bound to happen.
So yeah, nice. So this is from Happy Clown. Obviously, Matt that's getting wrecked by a keyboard and mouse killer because he's using the controller, right? Which is funny because Matt pretty much only plays killer. Anyways, pretty funny. Next, an amazing Meg Thomas by the artist Bud by 2D2B.
It feels a little Final Fantasy.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah, really cool.
Yeah,
Mhm.
really, really nice. This one, Plushies in Action by Plush Cats.
That is so sick.
I like it.
Yeah. That neon pink is really cool.
Yeah, I like the entity bits.
Is that like a furry, like she's dressed up with a toolbox?
Yes.
I'm not actually.
I'm not sure if it's an actual plushie or what.
Mhm.
The Trapper, Peace Out by Gum, Gomn.
That's not for how many people he's killed.
Probably.
Oh.
Yeah. I got all of them.
4. All right.
I like it. The Trapper Dad. This one we don't know from who it is. I actually asked the team to find the image from the web today, so I got them from all over the place. Some of them didn't find the artist name, so if this is you, please speak out, reach to us. I like it. We got a Female Trapper by Miss Zb, so ZB.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Do we have an idea of ever doing something of that nature? To do crossovers?
I'm sure it wouldn't happen, but never say never. I mean, as a cosplay, that would be quite cool. And the last one, The Raid by Bianca Saxonja. Hope I'm saying that correctly.
It's pretty anatomically correct.
Yeah, that's exactly how The Raid is. Good stuff. And that's it. Not too much,
Yeah.
just enough. I
Yeah.
feel that 11 is okay.
It's a good number.
It's a good number.
Coming back around again.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, so now it's time to go to the Q&A. This week we went over Steam to get some questions.
Actually, there's a few questions that popped up in the chat.
We're perfect. You know
So,
them?
yeah.
Go ahead, please, because we
Um,
want to take questions from the chat as
Yeah.
well.
So I'm not going to get into a whole lot of detail about each of them, but I'm going to address them. Someone was talking about getting hit through a window after a vault, stuff
Mhm.
like that. I don't know. I think that there's some stuff that we're testing right now.
Absolutely. I wanted to talk about that later when the Q&A comes in.
Great.
Sorry, buddy.
Great. So
Yeah, hold on.
we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Palette loops. So our amazing community is just so much better at this game than any of us. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, it's the truth. You know,
Absolutely.
you guys are
Thousands
out
of
there
hours.
like
It's fantastic.
kicking each other's asses, all day long while we're here building more ways for you to kick people's asses, etc.
Very fun to watch.
But totally love our community. They're so helpful,
Mhm.
even when they're being kind of salty. It's still all good, right?
We
Anyway,
still love you.
yeah. But looked at palette loops. We're gonna be doing some fixes for palette loops in the near future. I'm not gonna get into the details, but we are gonna manage the density of palettes in certain maps where they seem to be problematic. So we're gonna be balancing that out. And also we're going to take a look at safe versus unsafe palettes and half-safe pallets and all these other kind of pallets, and formalize their distribution as well. So that way we'll have another tool on the level design side to be able to balance maps out. So that's about pallet loops. Someone was asking about maze tiles. Our work on pallet loops is going to be applied to maze tiles. We want juking. We like mind games. People love it. We love it. It's something that we're going to focus on over the next couple of iterations while working on new maps. Clipping, getting stuck on collisions in the maps and so on. Yeah, this is not a feature. It's definitely a bug, and it's an artist issue. So our artists build the very beautiful environments and objects that are found in them, and they're also responsible for the collisions. So they have a stack of bugs. They're constantly chipping away at that mountain of faults, and we'll eventually get to fixing all of these. So that's going to get taken care of. Also, there was some question about totems. I don't think there was actually a specific question, but I have read over the last, since we've released totems about, how useless they are.
10 million years.
Yeah, and I wanted to say just a little note about totems. So for the most part, totems are really hard to hide because you never really know which direction that they will be facing, because our game is randomly generated. So we haven't taken the time to, let's say, modify the maps or tiles of maps to really create little alcoves or really hidden spots, because it's actually really, really difficult to do that in our game. Pick any kind of place you think is a hiding spot, look at it from a different angle, next thing you know, it's out in the open. So it's quite difficult to find hiding spots and know for sure that there'll be hiding spots. But I think we have a few solutions coming for how to increase the effectiveness of using totems and hex perks, because, face it, hexes are cool. Other thing about totems, I've moved the ones in Haddonfield, the ones that were in the middle of the road. Yeah, lol. Anyway, they're not in the middle of the road anymore. I did what I can for those really, really kind of obvious ones. But we have other things, I think, that we're looking at improving for the totem hex system.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
we'll see about that in the future. And just last but not least, about infinite fixes not being fixed. Yeah, we're going to be continuing to tweak each of those spots as we go along, addressing specific problem spots with specific solutions. So, for example, Asylum, even with all of our attempts to bring the Asylum vault windows into the fold and make them part of our gameplay and a kind of official way of playing, there's certain metrics we just haven't been able to make work. So in those cases, our goal is to make them gameable. So if you notice now in Asylum, there are new holes on the top. I showed the image before, it's not really important, but there's a few holes in the floor where you can drop down unsuspectedly on survivors, along with being able to jump out and intercept survivors who are trying to run an infinite loop. It creates a lot more mind gaming, and so that's our kind of proposed solution for infinites that just will not fit into the proposed fixes we've done so far. But we're not giving up. Our goal is to completely eliminate them from the game, and that's it. So that's all I had to say about those couple of things that popped up. So.
Very cool.
Like a champ.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go with this list. So someone from Steam called Alex. The question is, devs talked last time about bringing a developer on to discuss Soul Survivor. Well, there he is. Soul Survivor. Do you want to talk about what we're doing with that, Perk?
Yeah, go ahead, Matt. I'm just kidding.
Oh, sorry.
It's like, what? No, you've talked enough.
Object of Obsession is now being affected by Soul Survivor. This is a little bit complicated, so hang in with me. If you know how Object of Obsession works, I'm going to make sure I don't screw these ones up. It starts working by the active terror radius of the killer. So if it's 32 meters, Object of Obsession will start working from 32 meters to the maximum of what the perk is giving, which is 72 meters if you're at tier 3. What this means is if you are in between 32 meters and 72 meters from the killer, you will see the killer and the killer will see you. Now, when you equip Soul Survivor and one of your teammates dies, it means that you will be reducing the killer's aura reading perk effectiveness by 50%. What this means for Object of Obsession means that the 32 meters to 72 meters is cut in half, which is a 20-point difference. So I guess at 52 meters...
Can you do that in yards?
No. At 52 meters, from 32 meters to 52 meters, sorry, the killer will see the survivor and the survivor will see the killer. After the 52 meters to the 72 meters, only the survivor will see the killer. If you have tier 2, which is 75%, it will do a similar thing. It will be from 32 to whatever the 75% is right there. I didn't do the math in my head right now. I'm sorry. I was trying to think of yards. And then after that, it's 100%, which means that at any point, the survivor will see the killer after the terror radius, which would be 32 meters for your average killer. If it is the Wraith and the Wraith is cloaked, he has no active terror radius, it means you can see him from 0 meters to the 72 meters, and half of that would be your effective range, starting from half the range. So it's pretty cool. It's quite interesting. Try it out. Let me know what you think about it. I quite like these perks.
Not out yet.
Not out yet.
Not
Sorry.
out yet.
You're going to have to try later. Sorry.
As we've said earlier,
Very
because they're
excited.
new people,
I'm very
for the
excited.
patch, we're stuck because of 4.13 update, so
You're gonna
as
go
soon as
bananas.
this is ready, it's
I like the
going out.
rip Americans.
Always.
They do know what meter is.
Funny.
And Soul Survivor will affect Nurse's Calling, which it didn't do before. And that's just a straight reduction
go.
on the aura reading range.
So Alex, hope we answered that question.
I hope so too.
Yeah, I hope so. My God, it was complicated. Question
Stay
from
in school, folks.
question from Cassiopeia on Steam. Why are killers not able to collect offerings add-ons for free, just like survivors are able to do with items add-ons through the loot chests? So let's say they are not able to at the moment. So the idea with the survivor at the time is that since the killer has his power and it's a permanent thing and he can't lose it, but the items are never on the survivor. They actually need to search chests, find them, or get them from the blood web. That was the difference. But it is something that we have somewhere in our ideas bucket, something for the killer to find and to collect. Anything to add? I think it'd be fun.
I think it's cool too.
Next question from Zwida on Steam. With the lunge changes, are you guys going to change the active frames of the lunge? The lunge remain active when if the animation is over, and I feel as if I get it even when the killer is in the done swinging animation. So we did say that the lunge was going to change when
Yes.
we can finally patch, but first test it in the PTB.
Absolutely.
You want to talk about it?
I would love to talk about it. All right, so more lunge talk. Initially, we've spoken about limiting the amount of movement you can do left and right while you perform a lunge. We tried it out. We tested it internally, and we saw that it was quite limiting the players and what their movements were. And for how the game works and palette loops and whatnot, this proved to be a bit too difficult and would require too many changes to go with it. We're exploring now the lock-on. So this is what most people are calling the auto-aim. The way it works right now is that you have an area of effect. If the survivor is within the area of effect, once the weapon starts coming down, actually the weapon will automatically come down if they're within that area. You will then be angled towards the person, and then you will hit them to make it look nice and to ensure the hit. We're going to be removing that tracking system. What this means is that when you're moving forward, you're going to have to let go of the actual attack button yourself. Your weapon will then start coming down, you will take a step, and then the active range will be applied. So if there is a survivor in your range at that point, you will hit them. This gives a lot of opportunity to dodge, moving left or right. We're also exploring extending the lunge range a little bit longer so that you can try to time your attacks better. This isn't directly buffing the killers or in that regard, just because you really do have to time your attacks and make sure you're hitting properly. You have all the movement that you had before, which means you're still being able to tuck around those pallets, wrap around walls to hit somebody who's just sitting by the pallet. You've got many options. It should be very fun. Of course, this will take some adjusting time. Myself, I've used it. I've had some issues at the beginning, but I'm getting more used to it. It's going to be a lot better. Matt himself has tried it out, and he's told me his issues with it as well. So there is testing to be done.
I tried it out.
Yeah.
I tried it out. It's really skillful. You have to be really skillful.
Yeah.
I mean, at first it was frustrating because it wasn't what I was used to.
Mm-hmm.
So I was kind of like, hey, I'm entitled to this really easy hit as soon as somebody's anywhere near me. But no, in fact, now you have to know how far is he, and you have to have more of a reflex to let go at the right moment to land the hit. And it's tough, man. It's tough, but when you get it,
It's very rewarding.
Satisfying.
very rewarding.
Yes. Oh my
It's
God,
very,
yeah.
very rewarding. So that change, should probably be coming in at about the same time where we balance the maps in terms of pallet density,
Mm-hmm.
etc.
Mhm.
So I think that should be a good trade-off for survivors to be able to create their own, get away from the killer tactics.
Oh my God, dodging is so much fun. with this
In
kind
the
of thing.
face of the lack of as many pallets as you might be used to as survivors, and none of this is official, but we're working on that now and we're testing things out. So.
Yeah. In addition to this change, we've also shrunk the character hitbox, which is basically the collision area that the weapon will find and detect a hit. Right. So instead of being about this large, now it's about this tight, which means that there is a larger margin for the killer to miss, and a larger area for the survivor to actually dodge. This will inadvertently help our camping problem, as killers will now have the opportunity to miss those attacks. It is slightly nerfing the attack in general, because you're no longer tracking directly to a target. As soon as they're found, they're not just hit. This gives more hope to the survivors. Not enough hope that they will always win. That's the idea.
Oh, and these changes shouldn't affect infinites.
Yeah.
Simply because the range of the attack hasn't actually changed. The maximum range shouldn't be changing, right?
No,
So
when I mentioned that the lunge will be a little longer, it's because the auto tracking is when you find somebody, it will add another 2 meters to your hit.
which is why we get some of those weird ghost hits through windows and those
Exactly,
kind of weird.
Earlier, I'd mentioned that we were going to talk about not being hit through windows or whatnot.
Yeah.
This change actually helps you escape in those situations.
Mm-hmm.
So actually jumping over a window will be much more satisfying, and you will be hit less often going through. Now, mind you, if you're talking about latency and lag, you will still be hit.
Happen.
It
Yeah.
will still happen. We can't. It's very difficult to adjust that. We're looking into seeing what we can do, but we haven't found a proper solution for that yet. But we do notice that when we're testing with this new lunge adjustment, that people are actually making it through windows. And it feels really tight and really exciting when you get there and you're like, oh my God, I made it! I didn't get hit. And you're just like, what happened? And it's, well, the lunge has changed. So
Yeah, it does feel cool as a survivor in the sense that it's not impossible for you to get away from that hit, even if the killer's on you.
yeah, I see a lot of
Right.
survivors just give up in front of me when
Yeah,
I'm chasing
yeah.
them, and I'm just like, I get it, but I mean, like, it just
not
doesn't
anymore.
feel.
So it's
that
all going in the
proper.
direction where we want the game to be more skill based.
Yeah.
Finally.
And was one thing. There was one thing.
Was it?
It will be on the PTB.
Yes.
It will come with the repair generator and the damage generator changes. Sorry, so we can test it all at the same time.
Yep.
It should be very fun all together. And I had something else, but I don't remember, so I think I will keep that for later.
That's fine.
Cool.
Slassix from the Twitch chat is asking, what happens if you, with the changes to the perks, if you equip self-care and saboteur at the same time?
It would give you a 50-50 chance.
To get them from the chest,
Yeah.
and then you would get the ammo for both of the...
We need to figure
abilities.
out the button prompts
Yeah,
for that, though.
Of course.
But that is something we'll be
Button
looking
prompts
into.
easy.
Yeah, I guess. The controller kind of limits you.
We only have one button.
Everything's on one button.
Everyone's on one
It's
button.
the up arrow.
Yeah. Oh shit! I thought it was P. It's so conveniently placed.
The other
Control P.
thing I wanted to mention actually was that this is not affecting killer powers to start with. Killer powers will remain the same.
Yeah.
Which means the nurse will still have the auto lunge when she uses her stuff. The hillbilly's chainsaw won't change at the moment. But these are things we'd love to change. For example, the chainsaw when you're chainsawing towards somebody and then somebody sprint bursts in front of you and they get out of the way and you whiff your attack and your weapon comes down. Thank you.
It's a chainsaw
That's me,
movie.
everybody now.
That's-
Anyways, when that happens, it's basically the tracking system that says, oh, there's a target in your way, drop the weapon. And the weapon starts coming down, but as it comes down, it's like, oh, but the survivor's no longer in there. Well, you missed the attack. Which is why the chainsaw is coming down preemptively, which a lot of people aren't really enjoying. If we don't have the tracking system, it means that you choose when you release the weapon, and you have more control over it. So that should be really fun. I'm really excited for that.
Yay.
So we can make a map with nothing in it now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
theory.
finally we
In
could
theory.
just put nothing and
Yeah.
good
In
luck
theory.
survivors.
As long as we have elevation, I enjoy my balanced landing.
Next question. Foulland on Steam is asking, can survivors earn more blood points? Because it is clear that killers can win more. So we are going over different score events.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
There's a lot of change coming on that front actually, and we've also added before the holiday a system in our score mechanic that can limit the amount of points you get from a specific event and give diminishing return if you do them too much. So with that, we can reintegrate score events that we had even before release, but that we had to destroy due to forming issues.
Like Reckless.
Yes. So stealthy action should reward points as well.
Absolutely.
So this is on its way. It's gonna be this year. I'm not saying soon, but it's gonna be this year. Deadly Vanitas is asking, anything about the longer stun when wingling free? Oh, we did it. We did.
Yeah, sorry, I jumped the gun on that one.
That's fine.
There you go. Two birds with one stone.
Yeah. Select Sira is asking, are you gonna do something that shows you what teachable perks you have? Sarah, our UI designer, is actually working on that right now, and Yannick, our other game designer, that's not at the table right now, as you can see. They're working on this very menu at the moment, so you'll be able to look at a lot of help and description about your characters, such as the teachable if you unlock them or not. But also you'll be able to do this for characters that you don't own or that you never played, so that you can actually see what they have and what they can do. So for example, a new killer comes out, you didn't buy it, you're a survivor, you're going to face this new killer. You can go on this information screen and you see all the perks that this character can get, all the add-ons, how his power works, etc.
Very
So
exciting.
this should help for new content, but also for new players that are trying the game. I see Dingo is asking, is machine gun going to be nerfed? Oh, we did talk about that.
Did?
Yeah, we did at the beginning, right?
That was me.
Oh yeah.
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 Your boy Guzma is asking.
Your boy.
Your boy Guzma, yeah. Why did you guys add entity spike at the end of the exit gate if it only blocks the killer?
Ah.
It only blocks the killer for now. We did add this because it was always supposed to be there for the killer. It's just something that we never managed to do, so it was just like this invisible wall. We really wanted to put that effect in so that it's clear that you are blocked by the entity, can't go out like the survivors.
Hey, does that mean that the entity is trapping the killers in that world?
Absolutely.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Poor killers.
Some of them are there unwillingly, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So
Sounds
Dania-
kind of scary though.
Yeah, right.
Sounds kinda-
So Dania is asking, are you going to nerf pallet looping? So yeah, we
Well, look, like we said, that's like a subject in itself. Really interesting, kind of emergent behavior that we've, discovered with the community and everything. Is it going to be nerfed? No, but it's going to be formatted so we can work it into the general system of our game. So, that's one thing we didn't mention. But essentially, we have a chase economy model. Okay, inputs and outputs, basically, how we understand survivors and killer interactions for chases and so on. So our next step is to actually better understand the mechanics of juking and faking people out.
Yeah.
So when we break that down, when we break down the numbers on that, then we'll be able to tweak our palette spots and palette loops so that they're better balanced. and that there's a better variety of them. So
Let's talk about this another time.
we'll talk. We'll get into the details.
Yes.
Cool.
As a lot of people asked about losing pips when other disconnect.
Yeah.
So we did find, and a lot of you in the community gave us a lot of information about disconnects issue. Some of them are internally fixed since before the holiday, but we cannot ship it. We need that 4.13 patch to be ready. Also, we do know about some exploit with disconnecting. These are all going to be fixed as much as we can, as fast as we can. And exploiting the game like this can end up into a ban, obviously. So be careful about what you're doing. Then a lot of people are also asking about the save and how is the refund in blood points going. It's still going. It is a slow process, like we say pretty much every week. We're getting through, well, not us, but we have someone else external doing this process. Well, sorry if it takes a long time for you. They are being taken into priority as the emails came. A lot of people are also asking about cosmetics. We need more cosmetics. We are also working, part of the team is working on new cosmetics for the characters. This is going to come in the year as well.
There you go. New cosmetics.
Zatarax is asking, by the way, we're just going past 3 o'clock now because I'm having fun.
Yeah, we're having
You're
fun.
You're having
I
fun,
think
we're
so
enjoying
why
it too.
not?
Yeah, for sure.
You're having fun, Bjorn? Is that all right?
course,
Yeah,
always.
okay, good. Zatarax is asking, a lore question. If the survivors hang out by the campfire when they aren't in a trial, what do the killers do? What do the killers do while they're around? Well, like we did mention just now, as Matt was pointing out, are they trapped in this space? So yes, they are. Like the survivors, they're not there for fun. They're not. What the fuck is this?
Yeah. They'll figure it out eventually.
Yeah, absolutely. So they are not a creation of the entity. They're actually, if you look at their lore, they're actually people in most cases that came into or were abducted by the entity. Some of them willingly do their business. Some of them don't. They're forced.
Yeah.
They're tortured. They're put into submission to do this this deed. So we can imagine that when there's no trial, if that ever happens for the killer, if they don't rest. That's
No,
for sure.
no.
There's not a campfire.
They're not allowed
for,
to.
No, they're not allowed
No.
to. Okay. Antic is asking, can we have more PTBs? Well, we kind of talked about this.
Yes,
quite
we
a bit.
did. We want to for the lunge, the repair generators, and the damage generator. Repair hooks and damage generators.
Good. Infinity Board is asking, do you plan to join the Gamescom this year? Nothing is planned of what I know of. Matt would be better to answer that one, but I'm pretty sure he doesn't know either. So let's say no for now, but I'm not sure. Get Yoshi Master is asking, any chance for new cosmetic for the Hag and Lori? We kept this question because of the Lori part of the question.
Yeah.
The Hag is one of our character. We'll definitely see more cosmetics. Lori, because she's a licensed character, it's way more complicated to get anything new for that character. So for now, it's a no. But hey, never say never. For now, it's a no. Arashi is asking, should I report teabagging survivors for unsportsmanlike behavior in the reporting tool? Does reporting this does anything?
No.
Gives us stats.
No, it's not. That's not a thing. Teabagging. It's,
Reporting teabagging is.
I mean, it's hard to
is
tell the
not a
difference
thing.
between somebody who's teabagging and someone who's picking up a lunchbox.
Over and over again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You never know. Maybe somebody
Yeah.
they slipped on the button.
You can report it. We won't do anything with that. Teabagging is harmless.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Okay, moving on.
Moving on.
Deadly Vanitas is asking, 2 killers versus 6 or 8 survivors. Many people want this. It's not a question. It's more like an order.
Yeah.
You're gonna do this.
We hear you. We'd like to play this kind of crazy mode too.
Mhm.
We don't have any space at the moment to create this.
No.
Would you play it?
I would play it.
Yeah. What would you play? Would you like to play it against two killers, or would you play a killer versus another killer?
You mean like you both have to have the most amount of sacrifices at the end of the match?
Yeah. If you can play only one game of this mode,
I'd
what
play
would you
killer.
play? You play killer? What
Yeah.
about you? Yeah, you play killer. You always play killer.
Poor survivors, though, man.
There's,
2 killers?
There's 8 of them, man. The saves will be reckless.
Anyways.
Yeah.
Uh,
Killer for sure. For sure.
Little Skull Icon, Kaki Mike.
That's their
Little
name?
Skull Icon. No, there's actually an icon.
Oh.
I just wanted everybody to know.
It's like, dude.
That's one for you, Matt, actually. Any plans
me?
to revisit old maps? I'll,
Is that it?
yeah, okay, there's more. They are boring. With reoccurring same assets and only one unique structure per map. Haddonfield and Backwater Swamp stand out in design. This is good.
Yes, it's good.
Also considering balanced landing, maybe we can have more leveled structures.
Right. Okay. Revisiting old maps. I agree, they're kind of boring. That's the way that our game is set up. So we have themes, noticed, and maps in a similar theme share certain elements. Mostly
It's
the
the
debris
same place.
blockers.
It's the same place.
Yeah. So it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's that. As far as variety goes, I mean, the newer maps that we've created are the first maps
Of
a theme, which means eventually we'll have more maps in each of the themes. So I guess each of those new maps are going to get boring because we're going to have the same elements.
Not necessarily.
No,
I
we have new stuff. I
Yeah.
mean, that's not even a question.
The thing in mind, like you're always pushing for. Well, actually, the team is always pushing
Yeah.
on everything we do,
Everything.
and that's a fun thing, obviously. And the new maps that are coming to existing teams might feature new things that we
They will.
never saw before.
Yeah, never saw before.
So
That's the goal, is to have that one thing that's just a little bit different.
There you go.
So revisiting old maps, we have plans where we are in the middle of executing always plans to revisit old maps that need to be touched up.
Yeah.
So whether it's fixing an infinite spot or rebalancing hooks or pallet densities, etc., we will be revisiting maps. However, our focus is on new maps, obviously.
Slasher221 is asking, can you add the feature to spectate the killer 2 when you're dead? And no, because you could cheat that way. That's why it doesn't exist. In the new Kill Your Friend spectate mode, obviously you can, but in the real game, you could cheat that way. You could tell your survivor friends group what the killer is doing. So no, that's never going to happen.
Unless we put a delay, like a 2-minute delay just for the killer, but that would be very distended. And
Yeah,
weird,
and
I think, in
probably
general.
a challenge. I'm not sure. I'm talking through my hat. I'm not even sure if that's an expression in English.
Talking through your hat?
Yeah.
Now it is.
It is.
All right, great. Foxy
Well,
Gamer.
it's actually it's a little bit vulgar what it actually is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
It's
You
not
can
through your
explain
hat.
me
It's,
later.
Yeah.
Foxy Gamer 1987, written in numbers, not
In
in
lead
letters.
speak?
Uh,
Yeah.
Question: when you're going to do an event of getting the Legacy Prestige again? Okay, so will players be able to get the Legacy item ever again? And no. We might have other Legacy items, but the one that already exists and were awarded for the change in the Blood Web and the progression system, that was a one-time deal. Never say never, I guess, but in that case, never.
Oh.
Felipe is asking, will there be more soundtracks? Could happen.
I like that.
Yeah, I mean, we're adding more to the game, and as we're adding more to the soundtrack, at some point it might need an update, so we might make it available. But no plan on that. For
Talking about chase music or
yeah.
Yeah,
Any music related to
Okay.
Obviously probably not the Halloween theme. That is not something we could do. But yeah, any music that we add to the game, if ever we do other music in the lobby, for example, anything could happen. HeyTam09 is asking, controller sensitivity controller users. Yes, it's going to be in the setting quite soon, actually.
Yeah.
So with the launch changes, it will be crucial, even more now,
Absolutely.
that the controller has this setting.
Yeah, full support. Not just
Exactly.
sensitivity either. We're talking about inverted cameras. We're talking about sensitivity for both the right thumbstick and the left thumbstick. Menu sensitivity as well.
Yeah.
Everything. We want to make it.
We want to make
better
sure
and
that
more fun experience.
this little icon on Steam that says partial support becomes full support for the controller. So
Exactly.
this is on its way.
Yep.
Ayrton V's is asking, can you add a ping indicator? Yes, we sure can. The thing right now with the ping, so I think I say this every week, the thing with the ping and the problems related to this is going to change a lot when we get the new system with the backend. So getting out of our dependence on the Steam matchmaking, we can have more power over this, and then the ping indicator would have to be made for this new system. So hopefully this answered the question. Rhiannon asks, will Survivor soon be getting blood points for when a killer rage quits or is disconnected from the game? Yeah, we touched that really quickly for killer disconnecting, losing items and such. It's something that we want to look into.
Absolutely.
For sure. Angel Walk is asking, any plans buffing the hag's movement speed?
Yeah, so I have potential hag buffs here that I've been exploring and trying to see which ones we're going to be using. I don't think we're going to use all of them, so I'm just going to go through them. But again, they can be subject to change, and we'll see exactly how we want it to work out. Just by default, increasing the hag's movement speed, yes, would solve some of her problems, but it's an easy fix, and I think we'd rather go another route to keep her a unique killer and make her fun in a different way. We're also looking into reducing times to place traps, so you can place them more actively during chases. Removing her red stain is a possibility as well. That is the red vision that you see when she's creeping up behind you and she's about to hit you. Let her attack after she teleports immediately. You'll still have maybe the stun time will be reduced a bit, so you actually have the ability to move quicker, but you'd be able to attack immediately without actually moving, and then you move after, as there's no reason necessarily to stop that. And then we're also exploring the idea of removing the ability to trap under hooks. With this being said, you can still place traps outside of the range of the hook, and it will still give you the same effect, especially if you trap like 5 times around the hook. It will be different.
Is that hag only traps? Or
No, this is the trapper as well.
Any traps?
No, this is any trap potentially for this. Now, obviously, the Kindred buff, adding traps to it wouldn't go through if you can't place traps under hooks. It makes no sense. So that would be that. The trapper himself would then have a reduced time to place traps. The time to disarm traps for survivors would be shorter, and it would take longer to sabotage the traps. That's my changes right there.
You just made that up?
No, it's written.
It's written, yeah.
It's written.
Shit.
You just did that.
No, it was written. I don't even have the proper pen.
Don't have an Apple pen?
Do you guys have any other questions you want to
I do. Okay,
answer?
so somebody asked. I'm going to jump first. I'm sorry.
Go for it, yeah, man.
Somebody asked about balanced landing. It's fixed internally. We're just waiting for the engine update, as we mentioned many times.
crazy
Sorry for those
patch.
of you who are waiting for the crazy patch. We're waiting for fixes internally before we can do that. Balanced landing is part of that. And the last thing that I want to talk about, because it's the only other question I have, is the reconnect button. The way our matches work, it wouldn't really make sense that someone could leave a match and then rejoin in the middle of it, because then you were never there for the time that the killer was chasing people. I think we can have better ways to deal with people DCing from matches, as we've spoke about before, and for survivors leaving as well. So we'd much rather compensate you in that way than to get people to reconnect. It's not the same thing as a game of Overwatch or a Counter-Strike or whatever you are used to playing. Sorry. Was that
You have
sincere? I
one.
think it was
You have
sincere.
one last question.
Actually, I can go through them pretty quickly. If there's I've got a couple of them, but one of them was just saying, how come we don't give a faster killer vault speed? We've actually already
Yeah.
increased that a lot
Yeah.
to the point where we couldn't make it any faster. Otherwise, the survivors would just, not get any distance from using that element of the game, therefore rendering it pretty useless. So we want to keep that as it is, but we're looking into other ways to make those vault windows more balanced in general.
Yeah.
Are we going to do an inside map? We can.
Mm-hmm.
We can.
We've actually played one.
We have
for
actually,
the kick
yeah.
of it.
Yeah. Having an attic instead of a basement. I think we've heard that come back a few times.
I love that idea.
It could work.
Mm.
It could work.
Well, if I recall the prototype, at one point it was actually on the second floor of a building.
Yeah.
That
No
was
way.
yeah. Anyway, just
Yeah.
a little bit of
For
history.
sure. There was an LD question about camping. I haven't really taken camping onto my shoulders because it's not
No.
really a level design thing. So can't really talk about that.
Mm.
Oh, someone talked about maybe having an underwater map. I think that's amazing. Next killer should be Jaws,
Yeah,
and the survivors are all shrimp.
that's great. Sharks don't eat
Could we do it?
shrimps.
What?
Maybe they eat
Sharks?
shrimps.
They eat anything.
Okay, so I can talk about camping real quick though. So the plan right now, we've divided the hook gameplay or the camping problem in two buckets of priority, and we're starting with face camping. So face camping is our first thing that we're going to tackle.
Mhm.
We've already started, and our goal is really to make it fun, like I've said at the beginning of the match. So if someone decides to do face camping, then things will happen, and we'll be able to actually play the game and make this behavior acceptable.
A couple of quick ones left for me. Nurse Blink in Swamp is broken, or was broken.
Yeah.
So as soon as our artist noticed that the collisions were not flagged properly, we did a pass. It's all fixed.
Internally.
Internally, we're going to be releasing that fairly in not so long. Also, why is there a basement in the boat in the swamp? Because the boat sunk and then was used by the killer as a place to hang fresh meat. That's why there's a basement in the boat.
Entity world doesn't need to make sense. That's it?
I think so. Well, I
we're
mean,
done.
I could come up with a couple.
No, please don't.
All
So
right.
we've already busted by 20 minutes.
That's not bad.
So no, it's not too bad.
Are we getting paid by the hour on this, or?
You know you are. At severely reduced pay. New repeat news and announcement. We don't have a lot. The gang is in Taipei for Taipei Game Show at the moment. If you wanna go there, if it's you can just take a plane and go meet Matt. It's really not really far.
No.
Not at all.
No, but if you're already in that
A hop, a
region,
skip, and a jump. is what they would say.
Exactly. Thank you to our fantastic Bjorn for making this smooth. Yay.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for all the information. Thank
Pleasure.
you to Sarah
Pleasure.
for all the images.
Always cool. Yeah, thank you,
Um,
Sarah.
And
Sarah's
thank you to
awesome.
everyone for being there, for watching. Thanks to our muds for helping with the swords. And well, goodbye. We'll see you.
Wait,
Oh,
you
wait,
forgot
what?
something.
He's got the words of wisdom. I
Yeah, I
believe.
got.
You have the word of wisdom.
Yeah, it just kind of came to me at
Matt,
lunch.
filling up for Matt. Please do.
Take care of your machine in whatever you do. That's it.
Okay. There's still one. Yeah, there's still one image.
Oh.
Thank you.
Ah,
So a lot of people were asking to see the model face of the nurse. So
Oh,
we
damn.
managed to get that for you. So we'll finish with that.
All right.
That's not it.
that's wonderful.
What is that?
So pretty colors.
So I'm taking my tanks back. This is not smooth at all.
Here we go. No.
Oh well. It looks like we're trolling you.
We'll
so
never
we're-
be able
we're
to
not.
show. We can't.
Oh, we're
we
not,
can't
are
show.
we?
Yeah, so next
can't
week
do it.
we'll try again, but it seems like the entity doesn't want to.
Yeah.
So anyway, goodbye. See you next week.
See you guys.